pure experiences.
Welcome to the Pure Experiences Podcasts. How to bring the mind to higher layers. Can one stop it completely? Is it required? Why is this ordinary moment most spiritual? Will I become spiritual in future? What if Advaita is wrong? What should I believe? Let's discuss these questions.
Hello and welcome to Pure Experiences Online Satsang. In our Sunday Q&A session, it's all your topics, it's all your questions. So if you have any interesting topics that you would like to discuss here, or if you have any burning questions, any kind of doubts, problems, let us discuss these things. So let's bring our minds into the higher layers of intellect and even higher awareness, because in the daily routine, the mind functions in the lower layers. So there is a very good method to bring it to the higher layers. It is by thinking about spiritual matters. It is by asking a question, contemplating, remembering. So I use these methods a lot. Some people may want to use a mantra or a statue or something that puts that person, the ritual puts the mind on the higher layers instantly. So satsang is a time when we push the mind to intellect and beyond, and probably the whole day will be spent like this if you are in a 2-hour or 3-hour satsang. So probably we cannot do it every day, which you will need to do it according to your own ritual. Set up your own ritual. Satsang is assisted ritual. So on the path of knowledge, because we do not meditate, nothing, we expect the seeker to be always on the higher side, to be always beyond intellect. So there are nothing and no rituals mentioned on the path of knowledge. If you find that you cannot achieve that state of mind, which is conducive for the spiritual growth, then you can invent your own ritual. There is no harm, at least for the beginners. You can take help of yogic postures, breathing, pranayam, meditation, dhyan. All these techniques are for all seekers, not only for seekers of that particular tradition. Everybody can use it if you know how to use it. To know how to use it, you must get some training from a trainer, a guru. Or if you can do something very, very light, sit down and watch the breathing pattern. That is enough sometimes to stop the mind from abiding in the lower layers. The chatter of the mind will stop there. Mind won't stop, and let's not do that mistake. Mind cannot be stopped. Its specific activities can be stopped. Many people try to stop their mind by standing on one feet and torturing the body. And that's a stupidity. Because on the path of knowledge, you are now introduced to the mind. You should know that stopping of the mind is impossible. It will never stop. What happens is the activity shifts from one layer to another. So if the lower layers they stop, people assume, oh, my mind has stopped. No, the activity is going on in the causal body and other bodies cannot stop. Your perception will not stop. All there is the mind. It cannot stop. So let us not make this mistake of stopping the mind. You can only shift the activity from the lower layers to the higher layers. So I hope just by talking like this, your mind has already shifted to the higher layers. You can check. The usual mess of the mind, the garbage in the mind is gone for most of you. It's a very effective method. All you need to do, put the mind into a job, give it a task which involves higher layers. And it, like a very good servant, it will do that. And by you, I mean the intellect. The intellect should be in command. The command center should be in command, not the body or the lower centers. They need to be active only when needed. When not needed, well, should rest or do something which the body and mind likes, like watering the plant, cleaning the house. Nobody likes it, I think, but do listen to the music, something like this. This is totally different world we are living in. So probably you have servants to clean the house and wash your clothes and all. But somebody who lives alone, like in a jungle, these options are not available. So what I do is I do my daily work while trying to be aware. I don't even push the mind to the higher layers. Let it do whatever it's doing and become aware of that. The awareness takes care of everything, you see. When you are situated at the Agya, everything else behaves properly. This must be your direct experience, isn't it? So this was a tip, hopefully that will be useful. Whatever you are doing, become aware of that, and then you will be always, or most of the time, will be on the higher layers. It does not mean that the activity at the lower layers totally stops. No, it can continue. The body can keep doing whatever it is doing. Mind can keep thinking. The ego, even the ego can function. The identity can function. As long as it functions under the command center, the intellect and higher awareness, it's okay. What is wrong in that? What is happening is, for an ordinary person, the higher layers are not so active and the lower layers are like behaving in a rogue fashion. They are behaving in like a unmanaged office where you must have seen those offices when the boss is not there, everything is a mess in that office. Nobody works. So I had the fortune of working in such an office. So every time I went out, people also went out. They did their own jobs. They did their own thing. As long as I am there, everything worked. So it was very frustrating. It was very frustrating. Nobody will come to the office until I am there. They come exactly 1 or 2 minutes behind me, because no need to work if nobody is asking them to work. So, and the lower layers are like this. They lack motivation. They are programmed to do whatever is their default behavior. So it needs to be always under the control, not the obsessive control. You cannot use a hunter, a whip, stick to control them. It's not healthy way. It needs to be done only for a severely defective mind, for an afflicted mind, mental disorders. Then you need to take those heavy steps, heavy corrective measures. For an ordinary mind, simple motivation is needed. That's all. Be present and everything will work. Don't leave the office. It is okay. If they are working, it's okay. If they stop working, then you need to worry. Isn't it? The identity stops working, then it becomes a big mess. And happens to many people. If the lower layers, the anger and fear, stop working, lust stops working, it becomes a total disaster for that human being. The higher layers, they are not concerned with such functions. If they are working, it's okay. Not working, it's okay. But body and the ego, they need to be maintained. They need to be healthy. So many people have this misconception. I need to get rid of body. I need to get rid of ego. And that comes because of the half knowledge. They heard it somewhere. They heard a 10 minutes video on YouTube. Oh, look at your ego, it's a dreadful thing. Get rid of it. And then you will become spiritual. That's the end of the video. The videos don't tell you everything, you see. So even the books won't tell you this detail, because it's a matter of practice. It's a matter of implementation of the teachings. There are teachings, and then there is implementation of the teaching. Now, you need to be practical. It happened to me that I recognized this very, very late. This needs to be recognized first, that the body and mind and ego and all this, the society and the world is here for some reason. Yes, it's all false. No doubt about it. It's all non-existent. Still, there is a false reason behind it. What is that reason? We need to find out. Surely it is not to destroy whatever has been created, isn't it? And that will, if you assume like this, it will be a disaster, because you heard somewhere mukti, 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 and then you want mukti, and they will tell you it is cessation of the mind, no more birth, and instantly the destructive pictures come in your mind, destructive ideas come in your mind. Okay, it's all Maya, so let it go to hell. I'm going somewhere else. Where will you go? Is there a place to go in the totality? When you are the totality, is there a place to go anywhere? This is all there is. Cannot go anywhere. And therefore, acceptance. Therefore, we accept this life, this body, this mind, this ego. And the kaushalya is to live with the experience instead of rejecting the experience. This is the art. It's the art of living. 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in the consciousness. There is no other way to live actually. This is the only way. This is the proper way. If you say, no, I want to reject the world, that means you have not grasped the reason behind the world, the body, your relations, the family, the society. Now you see it is all bad, or it is all negative, and now you worry about getting rid of it. Now, this happened to me after a lot of struggling, a lot of suffering. The seeds were found inside my mind, nowhere else. Why is everything negative? Why is everything, even from a small ant to to the flies, to the airplane that goes above your head, garments, and your neighbors and your relatives, everybody is after. It looks like their job is fixed, and that job is to trouble you endlessly, torture you endlessly. Nothing happens according to your wish. If it happens, it goes away, and if it does not go away, there are fruits waiting for exactly opposite fruits that are waiting for you. And then you worry, then you say, why did it even happen? So I struggled and struggled and struggled. This puzzle is very dense. It's very big. Ultimately, the seeds, the key was found in the mind. It means there is a rejection in the mind somewhere. Now, probably you won't understand this instantly because I said it very quickly. Our experience is a reflection of our mental states, our likes and dislikes, and the seeds, the impressions that we have in our mind. It is exact mirror, the experience. So if you are happy, the world is happy. If you are sad, everything is sad. If you are angry, everybody is going to annoy you. If you are fearful, everybody is your enemy. They are there to harm you, to kill you. I had the fortune of meeting such people, and I saw that they have something which I also have, and they annoyed me immensely, and that meant that I am not comfortable in some way. Why? Something is wrong here, not there. Everybody is the way they are because of perfection. It is all perfect, and then something needs to be fixed here, isn't it? So recognition of perfection is acceptance. This body is perfect now, whatever it is. This mind is perfect now. This ego is perfect now. So what will that do? It's a kind of trick to put your mind at peace. It's peaceful. And then some people will say, no, I don't grasp the reason of all this. It looks all meaningless. What if the meaninglessness is the reason? What will you do then? What if the reason for the experience is purposelessness? And this you can use as a koan. The only purpose is to remain purposeless. And now live. No, suddenly it's not a problem, isn't it? The problem is only when you expect something, a purpose, and then it does not happen. Obviously, because it is made up. It is your imagination. So your expectation is not going to make it happen. If it is like this, then you will think it's my dream. And then you will search for the reality. It's never satisfying. Assuming a purpose, a reason, is not very satisfactory. So there are two ways, just like I said. You don't know the reason, so you say, I don't know. That's fine. It is mystery for you. It's mysterious. And then you deal with whatever is happening as if it's a puzzle. If it's a game, that's what it is actually. And second, you assume it is purposeless. And then there's immense freedom. Both should lead to acceptance, not rejection. As soon as you assume a purpose, oh no, I want mukti, I don't want this body, I don't want this world now. They are all fake. It's all evil. Yes, you have a purpose now, and then everything will become suffering. Believe me or not. So it's fake, and there is a reason. It cannot be real. If it became real, it will become a big headache. I'm telling you. At least you have this nothingness, emptiness to take shelter in. When they say Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, it means take shelter in the Buddha. What is Buddha? The pure mind, the awareness, the pure consciousness. How do you take shelter there? This is the Mahamantra of Buddhism, isn't it? Everybody sings it without knowing what it means. At least we have this place. And it is not a place. It is not a state of mind. It is right here, right now. That is the big realization, isn't it? And nice thing is that we are already under the shelter. And another nice thing is it's impossible to be anywhere else. Where are you going to go when everything is you? Just realize that there is this immense emptiness where nothing needs to be done, where there is no purpose, where there is no meaning. It's not a bad thing. It becomes a bad thing if you assume, if you have so many expectations, the insane kind of expectation, because people filled you with those things. I mean, look at a child. He's not expecting anything, isn't it? So that's why they say, be like a child. It does not mean that you become mentally retarded and do childish stuff. It means, in the essence of the child is non-expectation. Everything is accepted there. And look at this butterfly, look at this dog, and look at this TV, and look at this toy, I want this toy, and so on. It's very, very natural. The child is not saying, no, I don't want TV, I don't want birds, so on. So it is like being a child. And if there is expectation, it is guaranteed that it will not be fulfilled because the experience is very, very free. There is an illusion that I am controlling the experience and I can control the experience to whatever I want. And this is a delusion in the ego. That is the problem of the ego. In a child, this delusion is absent. It is taken up at some point in the life. It's mostly brainwashing by the society. Why are you not doing this? You need to become like this. Whatever you did is wrong. And so on. This delusion is filled in by the society. Because they are all deluded. So they brainwash people like this. Nobody says you do whatever you like to do. Nobody will tell you. And be free and do whatever you love. It's all good. Nobody is going to tell you like this. You are fine and perfect the way you are. You will never hear these things. So what happens when this delusion gets into the mind? Well, suffering happens. Suffering happens. And for a seeker, it's not a big deal. Just throw away this delusion and you are fine. But then the new delusions appear. Oh, I want mukti. I want a light body. ascend somewhere. So these people are not seekers. They are not spiritual. I want to stay away from them. They are annoying people. And so on. So, and other kind of suffering. And then if you can get rid of that also, there will be, I'm not aware. I'm not evolving. I'm not progressing. This is another kind of delusion. Where are you going to evolve? What are you going to become if you are everything already? The mind is thinking these things. The mind needs something, isn't it? So the thing is, let it have that. Let it have. It's not a bad thing. The mind has its own movement. So why not? But realizing that nothing needs to be done while everything happens as it should happen. So Maya is not the rejection of what is happening. Maya is acceptance. See, it is totally opposite. If you convert your rejection into acceptance, then what is wrong? Nothing is wrong at all. No need to suffer. So this happened to me. It took a long time. I wanted everything to become perfect without realizing that everything is perfect except this distortion here in my mind. So I actually lost track of what I was discussing, where I was going. So some people have written messages here. Ajay is saying, I remember I asked this question on self-inquiry, how to get rid of physical pain. And after a few days, I was told the real definition of grace by you. And this knowledge changed the whole perception. No, really? I mean, I don't remember now. So, yes, it is. You see, there is something. When I'm answering, it is not coming from me. Sometimes it's not even my experience, you see. Is coming from some knowledge store somewhere which is not mine. Because I'm connected. Because I made efforts to remain connected by listening, thinking, contemplating. This is available. So those who ask, and initially the answers will come from outside, from somebody else, slowly you will start getting your own answers. So the thing is, whatever I speak, whatever I write, even I don't remember. This person does not remember them. So sometimes for the same question, I'll answer completely different next time. So it is very difficult to believe even for me, because in ordinary state of the mind, this knowledge is totally absent from my mind. It is like just like anybody else. The same garbage is there, you see. I need to do this, I need to do that, that broke, and this broke, and this fellow is asking money, and that fellow is not coming. It is this life, simple life there. But as soon as you connect to the higher layers, just like I said, you need to sometimes push it, be on the higher side, and then this connection happens. Sometimes I don't even know from where these things are coming. They simply appear in the mind. It is like I'm doing a postman job, actually. So whatever changed your perception was from somewhere else. So let me also know the real definition of grace. I don't know, actually. M is saying the sadness or pain is directly proportional to the gap between actual to expected. More the gap, more the pain. Try and get expectation to nil. Whatever comes as actual will be enjoyable. Well, yes, nicely summarized in one sentence. That the same thing that I was telling about being a child. The pain is there because we are expecting pleasure. So when there is pain, it does not mean that we don't do anything. Acceptance is not inactivity, and that is another delusion, you see. Thanks for reminding me. That, pain means that you go and do something about the pain, and then back to acceptance. It will heal. If it is chronic pain, then you know that the body is given up. Body is the disease, isn't it? So acceptance that the body is gone now, cannot be maintained. How many people do that? No, they resist, just like Am is saying. More resistance means longer pain, bigger pain. So the pain is not good, but and there is resistance makes it worse. There was a thought in my mind, you see, I remembered a question from somewhere. If you think the body is not real, the world is not real, why are you protecting it? Why you get afraid when there is some dangerous work to be done, when you want to jump from one higher place to ground, or take up some heavy electrical work, wiring and all? Why do you take so many precautions? And I really don't have any answer to that, because it is not the I, it is our programming that is doing it. Millions of years of programming, survival is doing it. So how can I take credit for this? This organism is made like this. Its job is to survive. So what is wrong there? It can happen whether it is real or unreal. See, what is happening has nothing to do with reality and reality, because that is another problem in the mind. Nothing is real, nothing is unreal. It is that which you define to be real using your own criteria. When we say unreal in Advaita, it simply means it's not going to last. That's all it means. It is very simple yet very, very beautiful. The most accurate definition of reality. I've never found anything else better than this. So when I say unreal, it may always use this criteria that's impermanent. That's why it is unreal. That which stays is permanent, is real. This is the criteria that we are using. And everybody knows why we use this criteria. The logic behind it, it is the ultimate. That is one reason. Everything else will be inferior to this criteria. So everything that is changing is not there actually. Otherwise it wouldn't change. It will remain. The base, the substratum is never changing. So that's why we say that it exists. Other things appear and disappear on it. So reality is relative, isn't it? More real and less real. That's all there is. These people ask this question. So why are you so obsessed about security of the body and so on? And in other words, they are saying, why don't you die? And I had no answer actually, but one day I thought about this thing, and recently, and an answer appeared, which is that we are not afraid of injury or something bad happening to the body or the mind because it will cause death. That is not the real fear. The real fear is that I'll need to live with this messy situation for the rest of my life. If I am not careful, if the body breaks, gets injured, then even if it is unreal, it's going to be a very low quality of life. That's why the intelligence says that it's better to avoid this thing. If there is death, if you say just smelling something will cause death, then no problem. No problem, because I won't be there to suffer the consequences. There won't be anybody to suffer it. That's why we take precaution when we talk to people, because a little bit of insult is going to stay with you forever. It does not matter from whether it's coming from a stranger or from your own loved one. In fact, the stranger you will forget pretty quickly, but the ones who are closer to you, if they say something bad, then it remains forever. So that's why we are very careful. We take the same precaution just like we take precaution while doing something dangerous. So we don't want to live with it forever, like for the rest of the life. That's why we avoid these things. Given this life, whether it is real or unreal, you don't want that experience. This is the tendency of the mind. It stays away from the negative, any kind of harm. This is the tendency. This is also perfect. I don't see any problems here. I don't know why people see problems like this when there are none. What is wrong if the mind behaves in a specific way in Maya? What is wrong in that? Where is the logic failing here? It does so, and that's the end of argument, isn't it? Oh, there are a lot of comments here. Getting rid of physical pain. And the feeling of pain is in the mind, not in the source of pain generation. Like if our hand is cut, pain is not felt in the hand, the pain is felt in the mind. And this is why anesthesia is effective. Similarly, the mind although subtle, can be influenced by chemical. So the state of mind can be changed by chemical. Anesthesia, narcotics, etc. can change the state of mind. These chemical effects are short-lived. What if we generate these chemicals internally and enjoy the ecstasy all through? This is possible. Because mind generates the type of chemicals all the time depending on the environment we encounter. Fear, pleasure, pain, etc. all generates such chemicals. By controlling the mind, we can generate these chemicals and achieve happiness anytime, anywhere, amongst anything. Okay, so Ajay has one more alternative answer to the question about pain. So getting rid of pain is easy, isn't it? Very easy. The problem is we don't want to live with that. That is the only problem. It has nothing to do with being real or unreal. Let us say you are watching a movie, a very boring movie. Nothing is happening or the same things are being repeated. That's what every movie is, repetition of the same story in a slightly different way. It's a garbage story and a garbage acting and all the dialogues are garbage. You have heard it many times. Do you want to watch that whole movie? No, you simply close it, start something else. So this is how it does not mean that the movie is real. It simply means you don't want that experience. You don't have that preference. That's why we don't want the pain. Do we want the pleasure? Pleasure is absence of pain. It's nothing more than that. So if you get more and more pleasure, you will see that it becomes pain. It is, if there is absence of pain, the body is fit. It is happy. It's very, very happy. And that's why when people ask, how to be healthy, what kind of yoga position, what kind of breathing for health, blood pressure, I said, what? These things were not invented to keep people healthy. The yogic exercises and all, they have spiritual reason. So, and to be healthy, it's only one thing. Don't break your body. It knows how to remain healthy. It knows how to avoid pain. Just listen to the body. It is doing exactly that which is needed. Now people start breaking the body and the reason is they want pleasure. That's all. Why people smoke? There is no pleasure actually in smoking. There is this social component in smoking. I don't know what it is. It's kind of messy psychology somewhere that they want to, the peer pressure, they want to conform to whatever others are doing. If the big man in your school, the handsome person is smoking, then you are under pressure to do the same. And then the nicotine will take over. It becomes an addiction. So I don't know what causes women to smoke. And I don't think there is any pressure on them. But nicotine has this property of relaxing the mind. Just like I said, chemicals. The mind can be controlled very easily by chemicals. It's so easy. Probably that's why people get addicted to it. But I don't think anything can be controlled like this. It has consequences, always. Always there are consequences. So people break their bodies, people get into the addictions and unhealthy lifestyles for pleasure. And sometimes for very, very stupid reasons. So people drive like high speed, on a crowded road because adrenaline, addicted to that. Body is producing adrenaline, so they get addicted to that. And then adrenaline has consequences. It will break your body. It is a stressful experience. So just like the mental states will produce chemicals, the chemicals will produce mental states. Why is that? It's all mind, you see. The body is not different from mind. It's just another layer of the mind. It's not my body. The I does not own these things. It is having an experience. It is borrowed experience, borrowed from the universal mind. Probably not even the universal mind, a small part of the universal mind, which I usually call the greater mind, is borrowed from there. So, and should I break it? Should I not take care of it? Because it's all Maya, it's not mine. And that is another stupidity. Should I go for it again and again and again? No, that is also not necessary. So that's why I say try to find a reason. There is always a reason somewhere. And it will be completely fake reason, but that's not going to make any difference. Just like I said. The question is not the reality or unreality. The question is that we are playing here. That's all. How nicely you want to play. That's all there is. Make your experience a good experience. That's all. Isn't it? That's what the Buddha is saying. Gautam Buddha said, get rid of the suffering, everything else is cool. No need to mess with anything else. This ordinary life is the greatest joy. Why are kings so miserable? Why do they kill people in thousands? Why do they make the poor farmers pay taxes? No, you should not assume that there are no kings. They are there, only the titles have changed. Why is their life so miserable? Because ordinary is not enough. There's a delusion in the mind. There is a mental disease there. That I need to control everything. I need all the land. I need all the people to lick my feet. And this is a mental disease, mental sickness. Actually, this is a big subject. You will say, okay, then if there is no king there, who will protect me? Because there will be some other king who will attack you and do exactly the same thing, probably worse. This is human nature, you see. There cannot be any solution for this. The only solution is to rise above human. And for that you need to start by realizing that we are not human. We are essentially emptiness who has taken the form of human. Now if you don't like the experience, don't try to change the experience. Just change the channel. You cannot go to the TV studio, wherever it is, and ask them to stop doing, or put the other program, or make this actor behave in this way. I don't want this actor to say these lines. I don't want any kings in your play. It will be a big stupidity to try to change the whole studio and their programs and setups and all. And nobody's going to like it, believe me or not. They don't like it. Their plays, millions of people, they like it. They like their play, boring play. So what you do, you don't change it. You change the channel. Watch something else. That's what the yogi is doing. That's why we recommend getting rid of the human life. Because as long as it is there, it will trouble you. Why not explore something else? And as long as you are exploring, it is going to trouble you. There will be better life. There will be heavenly experiences. There will be millions of years of body-free, birth-free, death-free lives. Who cares? It becomes boring after a while. That's why dissolution of the mind is recommended. Any way that is going to happen. So some people may say, okay, then cut to the chase. Let's go to the dissolution directly. And such people are seekers. Now, from this point of view, you are at the ground floor, because we are all humans. We are all at the ground floor. It looks meaningless. What do you mean dissolution? What do you mean nirvana? This is something amazing. The word is very amazing. It means turning off the lamp or candle, as if nothing remains. This is nirvana. That is the goal. You can call it by any name, and other traditions will say something else, but it does not matter. Now sitting here, this looks like total stupidity. What do you mean dissolution? I don't want to be dissolved. I don't want that. I want a life. I want a good life. I want ordinary life. Why are you pushing me to get rid of all these things? So it is not going to make sense. And that means you will need to do the journey to the dissolution. And for a Jnani, it's very easy. You turn 180 degree and the dissolution is here, right now. It is a matter of realizing. Because if you go forward, wherever you're facing towards dissolution, then you will encounter a very big paradox, for which I don't have an answer actually. But the mind cannot be stopped. So what if this individual dissolves? Then what? Will the cycles of creation and destruction, will they stop? What about other minds? And so many things are there which do not make any sense. And the gurus will tell you something, some circular logic, This is how it is, and so what? You need to still pursue the mukti, nirvana. It is not satisfactory. For a jnani, this is not a big problem. There is nothing to be dissolved. There is this realization that I am already free. I am already liberated. You need to just turn this way and see there is no bondage there. It is already emptiness. There is no light, there is no candle, there is nothing like this. So that's why it is called path of no effort, direct path. Now this cannot be intellectual, because just like I said, if you repeat this thing, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. No nirvana, no liberation, no bondage, nothing. Not an intellectual thing. So the first step is to realize who am I, you see. What is my nature? What is my essence? And the self-realization will open up this kind of liberation that I'm talking about. Self-realization is nirvana itself. Nothing more to be done. Even if you don't realize the oneness is perfectly okay. Because is there a oneness? The oneness can be defined only if you see the two-ness, only if you see the multiplicity. Once you see the emptiness, nothing needs to be realized. That's why there is more stress on self-realization rather than realization of oneness. And traditions like Zen will make you do two things in one step. No self-realization there. Directly, no self-realization. Realization of no self. And what remains? Oneness remains. Because as soon as there is self, there is subject, there is object. When I say no subject, well, it's like already solved. The problem is solved now. When you see that it is emptiness, the oneness is emptiness, what else can be the oneness? So, what do you need to know after that? You don't even need to explain these things. Oneness is infinite. Oneness is like space. Oneness is like love. It's all BS, isn't it? It's like nothing. These things do not come close. There are some words that may come close, like it is perfection, it is beautiful, it is blissful. These come close, but we know it's not really applicable there. Some people have this delusion that I'll get a very, very grand experience of oneness someday, in future. It may happen in future, who knows, but it's not going to be grand experience. This experience is experience of oneness. It will be as ordinary as this one. Probably less ordinary, because now you don't have that fairy tale-ish expectation of oneness. It will be very ordinary. What do you do after that? Oh, just clean the house, cook the food, so on. Watch the TV. It is this ordinary oneness. There is nothing spiritual about self-realization and oneness. So either you can call everything as ordinary, you can call everything as spiritual. Now it is the preference in the mind. Because that's why I say everything is spiritual. Because I don't want everybody to get demotivated and feel like, because there are still preferences left in the mind, so take the positive one. Instead of saying everything is meaningless, ordinary, purposeless, fake life, now nobody is going to listen to me, nobody is going to make any efforts, nothing. So what we do, we sugarcoat it a little bit. Look, this life is spiritual life. So once you see it, it does not really make any difference. There's no difference between spiritual and ordinary. If you're looking for something special, then I can guarantee you will be disappointed. The pleasure is spiritual, the pain is spiritual, the knowledge is spiritual, the ignorance is spiritual, all this experience that we are going through is spiritual, and the liberation from it is also spiritual. So it's a point of view only. In reality, it's not spiritual and it is also spiritual. Both. Which is same as saying it's not both. So now it becomes mysterious. Now it sounds proper spiritual. Those who have read the Ashtavakra Gita, those who have read the Avadut Gita, they will see these things every time in every words. It is bliss and it is not bliss. It is infinite, it is not infinite. It is continuous, it is not continuous. This is the style of writing about oneness. Probably we don't have any word in English for oneness. It's Brahman in Sanskrit. When I say oneness, people will start imagining so many things about oneness. But when I say the Brahman or the all, then it makes more sense. So anybody has any further comments or questions of any other kind? Because I can go on talking about oneness in a totally meaningless way forever, which is a waste of time, isn't it? And the best description is silence. So hopefully you're not demotivated that this is all ordinary and it cannot be better than this. And there was a question, what if the Advaita Vedanta is wrong? What if all this philosophy is also false? Because coming from a human mind, it's possible that there is some error somewhere. Now why is this question? First, there is a lack of study, a lack of experience there. And second, the mind still has some expectation. Probably it's bigger than that. Probably it's not oneness. Probably there is purpose. Probably it's going to be better somewhere. And because the mind is brainwashed, it has become religious mind. There is hope there. Hope is the problem, isn't it? And that's why these ordinary things, you don't like them. There's always hope for better. Always in future or past where things were nice and cool. And present is a burden. And that is the problem. When told that there is no such thing, there is only this present moment, which is absolutely perfect, beautiful and blissful right now, right here, an ordinary mind or a seeker's mind also is not satisfied because very grand delusions are there in the mind. So such questions happen. What if Advaita is wrong? What if there is something better? What if the non-duality is also illusion and there is something more beyond that? So anybody has comment on this question? Is it wrong? Is there any other possibility there? What do you guys think? What if it is wrong? Is there any way to check whether it is right or wrong, true or false, in the concept of non-duality? Or should we take the word of the Guru on blind faith? Because there is no other way. Have you ever thought about this? That teachings can be wrong. It is human mind. It's possible to make an error. Look at all those scientists, you see, the great scientists. Most of them were wrong. This knowledge is very, very old, many thousand years old, where people were not so advanced. That is what you are told. Therefore, it can be wrong. Sounds logical, it is not, but we can have this kind of doubt. So, if somebody gets this kind of doubt, what should we do? There are two kinds of minds, isn't it? One, whatever you tell them, and many people are talking the same thing, this mind will never doubt it. Will say, yes, obviously. This old knowledge, everybody's talking about it. So many gurus are there. They look perfectly honest. Sounds logical and all. And they accept it. Oh, so there is non-duality. Oh, so it's oneness. Oh, this emptiness, self. Yes, the consciousness is here. I can see it. So on. And then they don't even wonder. I don't think people wonder about this or not, but nothing really changes after this. Same life. Another layer of beliefs on top of so many beliefs. And there is the other kind of people who will say, no, this is not possible. What I know is right, not that which I am told. These all gurus, they are fake. They just want money. There is some religion of some kind from the eastern countries. Old stuff, superstition. And no amount of logic or experience will convince them. Skeptical people. And probably this question is coming from the skeptical kind. What if Advaita is wrong? Because the believers, they don't want to even touch this question. They become afraid as soon as you tell them, look, this belief that you are holding can be wrong. And then they will avoid you forever. Because the ego is like this. It does not want to let go of belief where it has found security. This attachment to the belief is not knowledge. And the second one, probably there is anti-belief, there is a negative belief also. It's the same as positive belief. No difference at all. So that should settle the question. Is it right or wrong? And the answer is, who cares? Do not believe. Do not believe that it is right. Do not believe that it is wrong. This is the attitude of a seeker, agnostic. You say, I don't know, and I don't care. This is the right attitude. Now, you are not going to have this attitude just because I said it, just because it is recommended. You will find initially yourself into these two camps, one of these two. A total believer, a total disbeliever. They are one and the same thing. Same egoic issue. Once you have done that kind of circus a lot, then you will reach this attitude of not knowing. Not knowing is of greater value than knowing. Don't know. These are the golden words. What if it is wrong? Nothing is going to change. If it is right, nothing is going to change. This is disappointing, isn't it? That's why I never say this. Look, don't try to know anything because nothing is going to change. This is not really logical way of imparting the knowledge. You will need to make up a story that, these are your questions. Okay, I have the answer. Here is your answer. Is it satisfying? Yes. And the person goes away very happy. And something changes for that person. If you get into a belief that, look, it had an effect, it had a good effect, changed my mind, changed my life, and so on, then you are in the camp number 1, believers. Now, no amount of argument will get rid of this belief that this is right. And if you found it totally useless, then you are it does not answer your question. So you are in the camp number 2. It's useless, nothing has changed for you. So a seeker is not in both camps. Okay, here is my answer. Now, nothing. Is it useful? Okay, it's useful, so I'll use it. Is it true? Now you will need to remain silent. How can we say that? What is true here? And those who have listened to my thoughts on truth, they will recall that there is no such thing, true or false. There is no such thing as right or wrong. There is no such thing as absolute, non-absolute. It is unknowable. So the correct response is, I don't know. And this is where I arrived after a long time of oscillating between, probably it's BS, religious stuff. Because so many religions crept out of this philosophy. And almost all religions actually. This is called Sanatan Dharma. So, and in future also many will come out of this. Belief systems will come out of it. So there are many belief systems that are extinct now. And they came out of this only. There is nothing else to found your religion on. Non-duality is the only thing. So after oscillating between these, okay, this man is very smart. He has all the answers to all my question. Always comes up with the right answer. And now he is my guru. So he said non-duality is right. Okay, then it is right. I don't need to worry too much. My life is solved now. No more seeking. What is this? This is, and again, belief system, settling into a belief. Now you will say, no, I have the direct experience that this is non-duality. And again, I'll tell you something which I never say. Do not trust your experience. Now in Advaita we have these only 4 means to gain knowledge. The first is direct experience. Second is logic. The third is a guru. Fourth is scripture or a book. Same as guru, isn't it? And the guru is talking from logic and direct experience. And the logic is based on direct experience. So everything boils down to your experience. And when you say, it is my experience, this non-duality, this is fundamental. Now, there's very little room to move here. There's no place to go anywhere else because you have accepted the direct experience is a valid means of knowledge. Look at your direct experience for a moment. This is where probably there is a difference of opinion between Advaita and Buddhism. Look at your direct experience. All your experience is fake. Look at it. But you can say, no, that which is experiencing cannot be fake. Do you know what is experiencing? And the answer is no, I don't know. And the paradox here is that if you know it through direct experience, it is not real. It is something separate from you. And if it is you, then you don't know it because it is you. You need a separation. You need a subject-object relation in order to know something. And therefore, the I cannot be known. The self cannot be known. The experiencer cannot be known. And your guru is telling you, well, there is no difference between experience and the experiencer. They are one. This is the definition of oneness. Oneness does not mean that everything is, one solid ball somewhere hanging somewhere. It's not oneness. And oneness means there is no subject-object relation. Then who is the knower and what is the known if there is no two? It's not two. And they were very, very intelligent people, isn't it? When they said not two. They did not say one. Because we cannot go beyond not two. There is nothing to know beyond not two. If you cannot know it, you cannot say about it. Silence is the best answer. Or the next best is, I say, I don't know. And people are going to object. What do you mean? This is Gyanmarg, this is path of knowledge, and you're saying, I don't know. And then the correct response is, who cares? Is it required? Is the knowledge really necessary? Are the means of knowledge written in stone somewhere? Are the commands from above? No. So what Advaita is doing is not giving you anything solid to hold on. Don't ask right and wrong. Don't ask true and false. From the beginning it says, I don't know, and in the end also it says, I don't know. And the end, I don't know, is a better position to be in. Because in the beginning it is total ignorance, probably presence of all kinds of beliefs. The ignorance is nothing, it's only believing something else. So the path of knowledge will shed the ignorance. In the end remains, I don't know. And that includes the answer to the question whether Advaita is right or wrong. If you say right, there's a big problem here. You are in camp number 1. You are a blind believer because you don't know what Advaita is. Then if you don't know what it is, you cannot make a statement about it being right or wrong. It's difficult for you guys, but I think you are here since 1 year or so. So the last, the straw on which you are hanging must be taken away. There is no right and there is no wrong. There is no error and there is no correctness in Advaita. If it is your experience that it is right, then probably something big is wrong. Probably some delusion is still there. Very, very fine delusion is there. Remaining delusion. Now I am a Gyani, I know everything and this is the right thing to know. And this is sign of delusion. So some people will say, this is a true Advaita, not knowing. No, it's not true Advaita. It's not true at all. And it's not false also. So when I say, look, this is true, isn't it? In your experience, this is true. Your experience is truth. And this is half truth, actually. This is not true. Do not trust your experience. It is true in some relative way. It is true and it is useful as long as it is destroying your belief of some kind. A belief is destroyed, well, this job is done. The job of the experience is done. Now you let go of it. Do not turn it into a belief of some kind. Because I am guaranteeing you that there will be some other experience which will prove it wrong, completely wrong. So after oscillating like this, I came to this conclusion, yes, it is agay. That means no statements can be made. So now you can see all the philosophies, all the traditions, religions, and they mean nothing. And they are not right, they are not wrong. They're meaningless, purposeless. Everything you do has no meaning. And this is the essence. You cannot put a purpose, you cannot put a right and wrong stamp on this existence, whatever it is. So the Zen master will say that those who know, they don't know. Those who don't know, they know. Not only Zen, other traditions also will say something like this, like Hermetics and probably the Advaita itself will say something like this. And the problem is people know half or maybe 90% and they assume, oh yes, the amazing thing. This is what I like. And they don't get the essence. Cannot be bound in right and wrong. Because as long as there is something which is true, there will be something which is false, and then you will encounter suffering. Look, somebody has said something false. Look, I assume this thing in which is false. Now, for ordinary people, this is not much. But for a seeker, this is absolute pain, isn't it? I was believing in something which was wrong. It's painful to think about like this. And then what should I do? And then should I not know anything? Because in the end, I'm not going to know anything. No, that is again stupidity. You will need to break down everything that you know. And should I not do the effort of knowing? And there are these, practices that are there of listening and meditating and introspecting, seeing through the direct experience. They are absolutely necessary to arrive at the point of not knowing. If you don't do that, all that which is recommended, then there is no possibility. Then the first I don't know will remain. It won't grow to this complete, vast, enlightened I don't know. There's no possibility to come from. That first I don't know is dark, tiny, minuscule I don't know. There's nothing beyond that. And this one, this not knowing, is infinite, bright, empty. In that I don't know, there is a lot to know. A lot remains to know. In this I don't know, nothing remains to know. Nothing can be known. That I don't know is coming from the mind. Mind is saying I don't know. And this I don't know is coming from you, the Atman. It is asserting, I am. Nothing to be known. Look at this. This is what I am. Nothing to be known here. So those who have this doubt, I think it will be solved by now. I did not answer. As usual, I destroyed the question. But what I recommend is, before breakfast, every morning, destroy all the knowledge that you have. Destroy all the Advaita that you have heard every morning before breakfast. And by the time you finish the breakfast, the whole Advaita will be back in place. It cannot go away. And when you destroy the knowledge, what are you left with? I don't know. And when you assemble it back through your direct experience and logic, you should be left with I don't know. If you are left with the right and wrong and this and that and oneness and two-ness, well, your breakfast time is wasted. Better enjoy the breakfast. So I do this many times. You will say, what is the need? Well, the need is to destroy this question. See what you get. See what you get through your direct experience and logic also. If you don't get the silence in the end, something is wrong. So people will say, this is too much. I took 10 years to understand all the Vedas and all the Upanishad, all the great masters, 1,000 hours of videos and all satsangs. You are telling me to destroy it, disbelieve it totally. And here the mind has taken a hold, you see. The mind has made a house in this knowledge. It has become a believer of knowledge. Knowledge is not to be believed, it's to be known. And that which can be known in an instant, which is what this is, can be destroyed in an instant. It does not take time. How did you manage to take 10 years to know this much? This tiny thing. It's not two. You see, I know there is a reason there. This is a long story of the mind. It takes some time. It takes time only because of these issues of true and false and this and that. Because the pointing is very, very quick. Because it is instantaneously acquired. It can be in a second, you can get rid of it. Get rid of all knowledge just before starting the breakfast. And then look at the experience again. Look at the experiencer again. Look at the oneness again. Look at the Maya again. Look at the mind, the empty nature of it again. And it should take less than 10 minutes. It is all reassembled. It is by necessity, actually. That's why it is called Sanatan. It does not go away. It appears in many, many forms and languages and traditions. Is it right? No. Is it totally wrong? And no. Is it an illusion? No. It is unknowable. So in the end, you will say, well, this is it. And I really don't know what it is. And then the life is ordinary, you see. As soon as you say, I know something big, well, the expectation will come. Now I need to change this and that here and there. And that will bring suffering. The suffering is a sign that your mind has made a house somewhere on the bridge, which is burning. So like they say, don't build your house on a bridge. And Advaita is a bridge to not knowing. Don't stay there. And that's why I say, in our satsangs, we don't dwell on Advaita at all. We go beyond this. And I don't think many people understand this thing. But you see, in the description, it is written the path of knowledge, and the occult path, and the astral projection, and the mind, and the laws of the mind, and consciousness, the scientific study of this is all BS, isn't it? So Advaita is a bridge to go beyond Dvaita. That's all. That's all it is. In the Advaita, it's not two, there's nothing to know. Anyway, this is my experience, my interpretation. You will need to get your own Advaita. By that I mean, just kick it out. You will be surprised to see that it comes back, no matter what. That is how strong this is. That is why it has survived, so many eons, so many cycles of the time. We know it is beyond human mind, but that is what we get again and again. And you don't need years and years to destroy and build it up. In my experience, it takes 10 minutes. You can do it right now also, if you want. And destroy it completely. You say, I don't know, this is all made up stuff. And then start again from the scratch. Look at your experience again. Is there an experience? Yes. Can you say no experience? No, I cannot say this. Is there an experiencer? Yes. Can you say nobody is experiencing? No, I cannot say this. No matter how hard I try. Now look, is there a difference? Is there a separation between the experience and the experiencer? And when you look, you will find mind. Well, look at this, there is a mind here. You see, everything falls into same Advaita, which you kicked out. Now you can come up with many assumptions. Look at this is matter. And that means the mind has taken another route. Now it is going to get lost in the matter forever. That's why we say Maya. As soon as the mind assumes something, it's gone. It's lost. There is no hope of coming back from there. You say, look, this is a jiva. There are heavens, and there is the evolution of the mind, and so on. And then it has taken another path. It will be lost there forever in the many layers of the universal mind. It's infinite. Why it is infinite? It cooks up something as soon as it wants. There's no end to that. You're gone there, you're lost there. Now, if these assumptions are absent and you have taken the path of the four valid means of knowledge, that four valid means that I just described, you will arrive at Advaita. If you take something else, you will be deluded. The imagination will take you into many delusions that look rock solid and true. This is the characteristic of Maya, that it looks true. That's why Advaita is a kind of purification of this delusion. But never assume that it is right. Never assume that this is true. That is another delusion. So everybody should do this kind of exercise. And then the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The ordinary is spiritual. There is no expectation now. Nothing needs to be done. And that's why Zen master will say, the student is asking the master, what is Zen? Zen master is saying, have you finished eating? Now wash your bowl. It's done. There's nothing to know here, nothing to do here. It is totally ordinary. There was a very interesting quote that I read on Twitter, obviously. I hang out there all the time. So the master is saying, Zen is very attractive in the beginning, but it's a big disappointment when you know it. It looks very attractive when you don't know it. As soon as you know it, it's a very disappointing thing. Do not come to the path in order to know. You will be disappointed.
Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tharun Pradhan.